Over the past year of 2025, I have found that I enjoy getting all achievements in some of my favorite games on Steam, including Cyberpunk 2077, AC Origins, and Echo Point Nova. That's why in this video, I decided to get all 50 base game achievements in Fallout 4. Quick disclaimer before we start, I have already played Fallout 4 before, and because of this, I have 22 hours in the game and all of these achievements unlocked. Most of these I'll get regardless in this playthrough, but I'll not be going for some of the Brotherhood of Steel story achievements as I've already done that ending in my previous playthrough. This Fallout 4 run starts the way all Fallout 4 runs start, in the character creator, and I decided to just let my creativeness flow and make this abomination of a character with a fitting name of John Fallout. I feel like everyone chose that at least once, and this was my first time, so I chose a high charisma and intelligence build because I wanted the extra experience from speech checks as well as the increased experience gained from the high intelligence, for the task of getting to level 50 at the end of this run. The reason this is done at the vault and not in Sanctuary is that my recording broke and it didn't record any of the beginning part of the game. So I loaded a save at the vault just to show off my special stats as well as my character. As soon as I left, I also set the difficulty to very hard because one time when my friends asked me if I beat any game on the hardest difficulty and I had to say no. I know survival is technically harder, but I don't want to be running around because I can't fast travel. That just doesn't sound like a fun experience for me. Okay, I got out of the vault, talked to Codsworth, and left to help out the Minutemen at the Museum of Freedom while picking up dog meat along the way, which I forgot to talk to Mama Murphy about and never actually learned his name in this playthrough of the game. So every time I saw dog meat, it just showed dog as his name. Anyway, at the Museum of Freedom, I got the first taste of real combat as well as the first couple of human kills for the Mass Hull achievement, which requires 300 human kills. I also died for my first time out of many and leveled up and took the first point into toughness. I also collected the first bobblehead and magazine out of the 20 required for the Prince Not Dead, the They're Not Dolls, and the They're Action Figures achievements. Such a mouthful. I leveled up and put another point into intelligence, bringing it up to 7 for more experience gains, and used the magazine I picked up to play a holotape game for the Future Retro achievement, which I somehow missed on my first playthrough. I also hacked my first terminal out of the 50 for the fusion core, put the power armor on, and cleared Concord of hostiles with a minigun. One interesting thing of note is that as soon as I ran out of ammo for the minigun, the Deathclaw ran away and I had to chase it with my other weapons to kill it, which I'd never seen before because it usually stays aggro on you and doesn't leave. Finished the quest with Preston, leveled up, and put the first point into Life Giver. The plan for the early game was to make a beeline straight to Diamond City, then to the combat zone to pick up the companion of choice for the lovable achievement, with it being Kate. Kate likes it when you don't have any clothes on, so until I reach max happiness with her, I will not be wearing any clothes, which makes me very vulnerable to all types of damage and meant that I died a lot in the early parts of the game, especially to synths, because they had energy weapons. On my way there, I get distracted to help out Paladin Dance, which means I let them kill the ghouls while I scrounge for loot, and get distracted by a car blowing up halfway through me and Dance's conversation. For some reason, I don't finish the quest, but instead continue on my journey to Diamond City. I get there and have to sit through Piper's and then McDonough's Yap Fest twice because I tried and failed to pickpocket Kellogg's house key before he makes it into his office. I go talk to Ellie and get the quest to find Nick, as well as extorting every last cap that I can with speech checks. I reach level 5 and put the first point into Hacker. I continue with the plan to go get Kate and reach level 6 from just discovering a bunch of locations in downtown Boston, putting the first point into Wasteland Whisperer. In the combat zone, I get to pick the first lock out of 50 for the What's Yours is Mine achievement and get the companion of choice for this run. Then it's back to Diamond City to get an easy achievement by just running around the 4 bases around the city, which gets me the home run. I hit level 7 soon after and brought my endurance up to 5. Decided to level up a bit by doing some settlement quests, starting with Tempine's Bluff. In between some of these settlement quests and later on in the run, I would periodically go back to Red Rocket Truck Stop and try to do as much setup as I can for the Benevolent Leader achievement, which is notorious for being the hardest one in the base game, as well as to unload all of my junk items in the workbench at Red Rocket. In this time span, I hit level 8, which I put into the first point of Local Leader, and level 9, which was put into the second point of Toughness. Another achievement was gotten when I tried to help out Grey Garden, but picked a fight you couldn't win against some super mutants and started getting blown up by a suicider for the touchdown achievement. I also made my way over to Good Neighbor to mark it on the map as well as the railroad because they do have some pretty easy quests to do, and I need all the experience I can get. When I find the railroad, I become level 10 with a second point going into Life Giver. I complete the first railroad quest and reach level 11 for a perk into Locksmith to be able to pick advanced locks, and receive the Deliverer as a reward, which is a legendary pistol with a suppressor that can be sorted for the Armed and Dangerous achievement by just removing and reattaching the suppressor 50 times. I also got to experience combat with Synths for the first time when me and Paladin's Dance ventured to Arcjet Systems and the Synth's energy weapons shred my unprotected behind. I know this is actually wrong. I don't know why this is in the script, but I fought Synths with the railroad before this, so I don't know why this is in the script. Sorry about that. I hit level 12 during the quest and put a point into Inspirational, since Kate is going to be along the ride for the whole game, even the DLCs when I do that later. Around this point, I hit level 13, putting my first point into the Commando perk, and Kate tells me that she wants to cure her chem addiction. So we head over to Vault 95, see the Assaultrons, and get out of there, saving it for a later time. I do a railroad quest with a Deathclaw in a basement of a Raider encampment, at level 14 because of it, taking the second and final perk of Local Leader. Here, I decide to help out the USS Constitution and all of their fetch quests for different pieces of technology they need just to end up at the top of some random building in a worse scenario that they were in before. The next achievement I get is Community Organizer, which is to ally with 3 settlements when I help out Country Crossing by eliminating the raiders at Reverie Beach Station. Kate also broke her back in this area after she magically warped through the floor of a train. Must be an effect of all that psycho she's been taking. Anyway, I also hit level 15 for the first point into Medic. Now, I was getting ready for taking back the Minimuck Castle from the Mirelurks, so I headed back to Good Neighbor to steal the Fat Man and Mini Nuke from Cleo's shop to hopefully have an edge over the Mirelurk Queen. Spoiler alert, it didn't help that much because there was only one Mini Nuke and the Mirelurk Queen can take multiple mini nukes before dying. I always find it so weird that on the Fat Man model, when it's dropped on the ground, there is clearly shows there's a mini nuke there, but you don't get it as ammo when you pick it up. I don't know. It always peeves me. Since I don't have enough mini nukes for the Mirelurk Queen, I am forced to duck and cover and take pot shots at her with the laser musket and hunting rifles to finally take her down. Completing this quest awarded me with the Taking Independence achievement, which means that there is only one more Minimana achievement to go. Next, I went and rescued Nick Valentine from Skinny Malone as well as picked up the speech bobblehead. Me and Nick then went back to Diamond City and I got interviewed and told to go find a key for Kellogg's house, which I took from Mayor McDonough's safe. On the elevator ride up to the mayor's office, I got reminded of the time when I went to Boston and I actually visited Fenway Park in the corner near the third base. Back to the game, me and Nick made it into Kellogg's house, and since I played this game before, I went right to the secret button to open the back room. At this time, Nick also becomes an available companion, which just so happens to be my fifth, getting me the Never Go It Alone achievement. Here, I went back to Fort Ice Cream to kill Cereal Man, and on my way, picked up the Energy Weapons bobblehead and another mini nuke. The Brotherhood arrived, and I went back to Diamond City to finish the Reunions quest. I then went back to Vault 95 with a missile launcher, and this time managed to cure Kate of her psycho addiction after a multiverse of attempts. Level 16 through 19 was gotten from taking Independence through Vault 95, but I didn't take any perks because I thought that I would need some specific perk or perks to help Kate in curing her addiction. With this not being the case, I take the third point into Toughness and remaining 3 into Agility, bringing up Agility stat to 5. I did the Sanctuary quest, and when I went to go help defend Starlight Drive-In from some ghouls, I finally reached max relationship with Kate, getting me the lovable achievement. But more importantly, it means I can finally wear clothes again. The realization that I'm going to have to reach level 50 finally dawns on me, and I decide to just hammer out a bunch of quests so I can get closer to that mark. These quests were literally anything that was on my Pip-Boy and got me some levels from level 20 to level 23, with me taking Action Boy, the final point in Life Giver, and the first 2 points into Rifleman. When I was turning one of the case file quests into Ellie, her head and arms decided that they were not worthy of her body and turned invisible, with her body following suit slightly afterward. During this questing spree, I also finally collected 1,000 crafting resources, getting me the Scaver achievement, and I picked my 50th lock, getting the What's Yours is Mine achievement. At this point, I was ready for the Benevolent Leader achievement, so I went and got some settlers from Starlight Drive-In to go to Red Rocket and assigned one to food and the remaining five to Tier 3 surgery clinics. These clinics, mixed with the favorable conditions of Red Rocket, makes the happiness go up in the settlement, although really slowly. So between my 48-hour naps and sitting around for 12 hours, I got bored and built a staircase of wooden crates and then a huge tower out of toolboxes. Since I was now done with most of the harder achievements in the game, the next thing to do was get all of the bobbleheads across the Commonwealth. As you may recall, I already had the Perception bobblehead from the Museum of Freedom, the Speech bobblehead from Rescuing Nick, the Energy Weapons bobblehead from Fort Hagen. The first one that was collected after these was the Repair bobblehead from Corvega Assembly Plant, then the Science bobblehead from Vault 75. I leveled up to 24 and took the third point into the Rifleman because more of my weapons were single action rifles, and this perk increases your damage and armor penetration. To get the Medicine bobblehead, you must help out Vault 81 and Austin, which just so happens to be my 10th side quest, getting me the Gun for Hire achievement and the next level up, which went into Scrounger. On my first visit to Vault 95 to help out Kate, I didn't realize that it also contained the Big Guns bobblehead, which would have been an easy pickup, but instead I had to go back and run past all the gunners and the assaultrons to get this bobblehead, which did take a while and a couple of deaths. But I managed in the end with enough camps to make even Kate cry. Next on the list was Gunners Plaza, which held the Small Guns bobblehead, then Boston Public Library with the Intelligence bobblehead, and then Trinity Tower to Free Strong, as well as the Melee bobblehead, which just so happens to be my 10th bobblehead, giving me the They're Not Dolls achievement. Here I also hit level 26 and take the second point of Scrounger. The next bobbleheads come as follows: the Lockpicking bobblehead at Pikmin Gallery, the Strength bobblehead at Mass Fusion, the Explosives bobblehead at Saugus Ironworks, the Barter bobblehead at Longnet Lukowski's Cannery, the Sneak bobblehead at Dunwich Borers, the Charisma bobblehead at Parsons State Insane Asylum, the Unarmed bobblehead at Adam Cat's Garage, the Endurance bobblehead at Poseidon Energy, the Agility bobblehead at the wreck of the FMS Northern Star, and finally the Luck bobblehead on Spectacle Island. During this time, I got the Mastle achievement from killing 300 human enemies, realized I needed to craft 100 items for the Wasteland DIY achievement. So I dropped the bobblehead search and continuously bought shipments of fertilizer from Diamond City and made 100 jet. I also read my 20th magazine at the Northern Star, the Prince Not Dead achievement, and leveled up from level 26 to 30, taking the third point in Scrounger, the second point in Wasteland Whisper, and improving my intelligence to then. At this point, there was not much to do except to continue the main quest, so I started with Old Guns, getting the achievement of the same name, exploring Kellogg's brain, traveling the Golong Sea, talking to Virgil, killing the Courser, and making it into the Institute. I also cleared out Fort Strong with the Brotherhood, found my way to Drumlin Diner, and reverse pickpocketed a frag grenade into Wolfgang's pants, getting me the Prankster's Return achievement. I also made my way up to level 35, taking Rifleman 4, Pickpocketing 1 and 2, Toughness 4, and Animal Friend. The Mankind Redefined achievement is next when I finish the quest of the same name and start Mass Fusion. For the ending of this game, I decide to follow the railroad ending until blowing up the Pridwin, then change over to the Institute ending, which allows me to not have to load any saves since I already finished all the Minutemen and Brotherhood achievements. But before starting Mass Fusion and labeling myself as an enemy of the Brotherhood, I had to complete 50 miscellaneous objectives for the Mercenary achievement. If you don't already know, this is easily done if you just throw a vertibird grenade, board the vertibird, then immediately get off and fast travel away to repeat the process, because boarding a vertibird is a miscellaneous objective. After this, I completed Mass Fusion, recruited a scientist, wrote a speech, plugged the beryllium agitator into the Institute's nuclear reactor, and attended a meeting as the director of the Institute, getting me the Powering Up achievement. I then spoke to Patriot for the last time, as well as Desdemona, finishing the Underground Undercover quest, as well as getting the achievement with the same name. Then it was time to blow up the Pridwin, which I did covertly by complete accident because I had a Brotherhood outfit on at the time and could pass all of the speech checks required. John Fallout, Deacon, and Tinker Tom flew away in a hijacked vertipird, finishing the rocket's red glare quest and achievement. Finally, I spoke to Father and shot up the railroad, which finished the Institute ending and got me the Nuclear Family achievement. During this time, I reached level 39 and put the first 3 points into Bloody Mess, the last point into Perception, meaning I now had 5 Perception. At this point, I had 3 achievements left to go in the base game, which included Robco's Worst Nightmare, to hack 50 terminals, which I was 1 away from, the Legend of the Waste achievement, to reach level 15 as I was only level 39, and the Harder They Fall achievement, to kill 5 giant creatures, where at this point I had only killed 2, a behemoth at Fort Strong and another near Gunner's Plaza. The first thing I did was get that last terminal while doing the House Divided quest for the Institute, and then I brought Virgil the experimental serum just because I was feeling nice and he helped me out on the main quest line. The next thing to complete was to kill the remaining 3 giant creatures, and I chose to kill Swan and 2 other behemoths, one near Natick Bank and the other near Walden Pond. If you were wondering, for some reason the Mirelurk Queen at the castle did not count. I don't know why, but I think it was because maybe I didn't get the last shot on her, even though it kinda looks like I did. At this point, the last achievement to get was to reach level 50 for the Legend of the Waste achievement. And at first, I did every single quest that I could do, and that wasn't DLC. But this one only brought me up to level 40, which I put into the last point of Scrounger, by the way. So with literally no other alternative other than doing generated side quests from Preston that only get about 200 to 300 XP, I decided to turn to exploits to get the remaining levels. I don't feel good about this at all, but I used the duplication glitch to duplicate copper until I had over 100,000. I then built these baseball statues that gave about 30 XP each to get the last 10 levels. If you are wondering why I switched to controller for this, it is because controller is much easier to perform this glitch on because you just need to slide your thumb from the scrap to the store button instead of having to precisely time your movements on keyboard and mouse. The last 10 levels from this exploit went into Toughness, Bloody Mess, Rifleman, Demolitions Expert, and Commando. All in all, this challenge took 43 hours to complete and brought my total playtime up to around 65 hours to get all these 50 base game achievements. Next, I'm going to talk about how I feel about this game because I feel like not many people do this on YouTube. And like you watch the video and then you watch a separate video at the end of the year, especially like in the last month of December 2025. You watch videos and they're like ranking all the games I played this year. And then you're like, oh, this is what you thought of this game? To me, it looked like you had way more fun with it. So I wanted to like make myself clear that Fallout 4, the game is okay. The main story is pretty forgettable and pretty bad. It doesn't make you feel anything. Like, I mean, comparing this game to some other games on the market, like Cyberpunk 2077, or even something like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, you don't really feel like the character in Fallout 4. You just feel like some guy running around. And so I feel like the biggest problem with this game is just the immersion. When you when you are like giving someone a quest item or just a regular item or something else, or someone you're receiving an item from someone else, there's no actual animation of them giving it to you or you taking it. So it's not immersive and it seems like it just transcended realities and or turned into a gas and flew all the way into your pocket or something. And the only reason you know it happened is because there's a little box at the top left saying 100 caps added or something like that, or something was removed. So I feel like that is definitely the biggest problem with this game. It's just the lack of immersion. There's other problems too, don't get me wrong, like the dialogue options being absolutely terrible and the story being mediocre at best. The only other game, although other Fallout game I have ever played is Fallout 3. I have played about 20 minutes of New Vegas, and I know that a lot of people like that game. Actually, it is one of the games on my bucket list that I would like to do a 100% run in the future. Not anytime soon, though, maybe a couple months at least. But I know that those games have better speech and dialogue options over 4, because 4 is just not enough. Like, 4 is sometimes enough in some scenarios, especially in those games you only see like 2 or 3 sometimes, but then there's other options where you can have like 5 or 6. And the problem with Fallout 4 is that usually the top option your top arrow key or whatever it is, Y on Xbox controller, and I think triangle, if I'm not wrong, on PlayStation, is always like a clarification question if you weren't paying attention. And I feel like that's just shit because you only have three actual options to choose from. Usually the bottom one, your A, your X, I think, on PlayStation, or your down arrow key on PC, is your agree with full-heartedly agree. And that's not bad. It like makes it easier to do. Like I feel like every single speedrunner of this game knows this, and they just spam the down key. And when I watch these videos, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the best way to get through all of these dialogues. The left, uh, your X button on Xbox, your I think square on PlayStation, or your left arrow key on PC is always like either a sarcastic or witty response or just another boring response usually. And I feel like the one you always that's always different and unique every single time is the one on your right. Your right arrow key, your circle on PlayStation, or your B button on Xbox is always like the most unique. And that just really leaves you with one dialogue option. And that's just not enough. It's just not enough, you know? I mean, they included these dialogue options to give you the illusion of choice, but I feel like if this game was just linear, a lot of people would criticize it for that, but it would just be better in so many ways than this like scuffed dialogue option system. Also, the talking with the characters and other characters of this cinematics or whatever, it's kind of buggy and you kind of clip into other characters sometimes, and it's also just not very cinematic. Takes a lot of time to complete, very time consuming, very annoying. You don't want to be sitting there. You want to actually play the game. You want to enjoy the strengths of this game, which is definitely the gunplay. The gunplay is really good. I like legendary weapons. Like in this run, I picked up an explosive 10 millimeter pistol, an explosive combat shotgun, and spray and pray from Cricket. And also, there's a lot of cool side quests in this game as well. I mean, I helped out a bunch of robots with the ship. I also know there's some quest, I'm pretty sure it's DLC, where you can help out like a submarine captain and you get like a mini loot, like mini nuke missiles from that submarine. I thought that was really cool. The actual main story of this game is not great. There's definitely like some loopholes, like how does Kellogg look the same after 60 years? And it was like, oh, but he had a bunch of Institute technology in him. Like, I mean, he has to look at least slightly different. Why was he even sitting in Fort Hagen? And I mean, if Sean and him left 50 years ago and the trail is still showing up with the Asantron bodies and stuff like that. I know I don't have any footage of it because I knew where Fort Hagen was already, but usually you would find like some Asantron bodies or like dead scavengers. But in the context of the game, that's 50 years ago. That doesn't make any sense. Also, why would the mayor have Kellogg's house key? I feel like Kellogg would have his house key. It's just kind of stupid. And every time I try to talk to the mayor to get the house key with a persuasion check, here and in my last playthrough, who's always like, "Oh, I'm busy." Buddy, you're just staring out over Diamond City. You're not doing anything. You could talk to me. I mean, I also tried to talk to the receptionist, but I don't that didn't work either, I think. I know I did it in my other playthrough. I don't know if I did it in this one, but I remember that one. It did not work at all. Nick, Ellie, and Piper all remember Kellogg. So does that mean Nick, Ellie, and Piper are all over 60 years old? And also, how did the Radroaches get even in Vault 111? Just never explained. I never saw any holes in the wall. There's no context clues of how they actually got there. They couldn't have taken the elevator because it would need a pit boy. And also, ghouls in this game. Why are some of them have conscious and the others don't? Others are feral, but some of them have conscious. I know the Vault Tech representative you see in the game you can find later, Hancock, they all like they're all like conscious, but then you walk over, you see the other ghouls, and you're like, These are unconscious. So why are those ghouls specifically conscious and these not? Also, I know this is DLC, but I just played the Vault 88 one, and Overseer Barstow, I think, something like that. She is also conscious, but all the other ghouls in there are not. That was the last thing I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to remind you that this is my first video ever, so any critique would be lovely. I would like any critique, anything I did well, anything I need to work on better. I feel like I need to work on my scripting a little bit more. I also need to work on talking off the script more. Like there was multiple attempts where I just spoke something gibberish and I had to go back and delete it. So it might be some weird edits and cuts. Um, the next video, I know this is only one half, only up to 50. The next video is going to be all the DLCs. I already started, like I previously mentioned, and they're not much better in any of the things I just talked about, but we'll get to that in the next video. So, thank you everyone so much for watching. I feel like this video is going to be around 30 minutes. The recording right now for my voice says 27 minutes and 30 seconds. So this is, half an hour of your time. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for giving me this half an hour of your time, and I hope to see you again.